Hey Lego fans, it's Jake from Jake's Bricks here, and today I'm going to be building this set 8677. This is the Ultimate Tow Mater from Cars 2. I actually have the Cars 2 Ultimate Lightning McQueen. This set is actually used. It came in a recent haul. If you want to see the entire haul of what's in the box, that episode is right here in the upper corner. You can click on that exclamation point and check it out, that episode of What's in the Box and many other episodes of What's in the Box here on the Jake's Bricks YouTube channel. But today what I'm going to do is just open this setup, build with you, and have a conversation with you. Tell you a little bit about my Lego story, how I got into the Lego building hobby, and I have loved getting to connect with so many Lego fans across the world since I started this channel. So I'm going to open up this set. It's used. It came from my friend George. He sent this to me, and I'm going to build it and just chat with you guys along the way. So let's open it up. Dump out the pieces. Again, this set is used, so there's no original poly bags inside. The box is a little bit beat up, as you probably saw, but that doesn't matter. We're going to be building this set today, so I'm going to open up. Look at that. Brand new sticker sheet. Instructions in pretty good shape. Rolled up a little bit, but let's go ahead, try to fold these out as best as we can. All right, let's start dumping some of these Lego pieces out on here. Build with you guys along the way. All right, let's start building this this Tow Mater Lego set. And I'll just tell you a little bit about my Lego story. For many people out there that are adults that are fans of Lego, AFOLs, if you will, out there like me, they probably grew up playing with Lego sets. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you got into the hobby as an adult. But for me, I grew up playing with Lego sets. I loved playing with Lego sets. Me and my buddy Dave, growing up, we would go over to his house and we would just free build constantly, like for hours. We would dump the Lego pieces out on the floor and we would just go to town. And I have never been a very good free builder. I never created anything amazing. I never created a mock that was like worthwhile to submit to Lego Ideas. But I just enjoyed building so much that I just, we would die. I would die to go over to his house and just build with Lego sets. I had an AT-AT Walker at one point, a large R2-D2 set. I was a big fan of Lego all the way up until age, 13, 14 years old. And really what tipped the scales was the day that I got a Nintendo 64. But I was behind. Like, Nintendo 64 came out when I was like 7 or 8. But I didn't get it till I was like 13, 14 years old. And so when I got a Nintendo 64, unfortunately, looking back, I let all my Lego sets go. And I remember, I think I sold them at a garage sale, like the entire bin of Lego for, it was probably at the time $40, $50, maybe less than that. But I remember being so excited because with that money, I could buy Mario Kart with my money, or we could go to Blockbuster back in the day and we could rent several video games. Back in the day, you could rent N64 video games at Blockbuster. And so that's what my brother and I did. And we enjoyed it. I can't say that I missed Lego. I went through, I guess, the period that many fans of Lego call is called the Dark Ages, the ages where you're not into Lego building, you're not into the hobby. And I guess that would be but years of dark ages all the way up till maybe age 23, 22 or 23. At this point, I think I was age 23 because I got married to my wife, Hannah, when I was 23 years old. And we moved to Kansas City where my family was for a small stint early in our marriage. And then we moved up to the suburbs of Chicago. And at the time, we were working at an online grocery startup company, which sounds way cooler than it is. It's not the jobs that we wanted. I actually have a degree in ministry and Bible from a Bible college called Cornerstone University. And I just had a huge passion to become a pastor. And that was what I wanted to pursue. And we were connected with the church up in Chicago. And we're like, cool, this could be an open door for us. And we found 2 full-time jobs that were not inside the church, but were connected with someone that attended the church. And I was doing account management. My wife was doing customer service. And we started to work at this online grocery company. And can't say it's jobs that we loved. Actually, it was really difficult for a long time because we learned very quickly that I wasn't going to be on staff at the church that we were at. So what we started doing is we said we wanted to get serious. If we're going to continue to serve at this church and we're continuing to work at this company, like we want to do it well. And so my wife and I found a little passion, a little hobby. When we would drive home from work, we would stop by the store called Goodwill. And if you've heard of Goodwill, if you're here in the U.S., it's a thrift store that's, I think, national. It's national, and it's all over the country. And we were in the suburbs of Chicago. And our drive home, we would stop at sometimes anywhere from 3 to 4 Goodwill stores on our drive home. And inside of this drive home, we would stop at these Goodwill stores and we would buy toys, we would buy games, we would buy clothes, anything that we could buy and sell. Many of the things we ended up keeping for ourselves: board games, clothes, home decor. I think they had a partnership at the Goodwills in the Chicago suburbs with Target. They would buy old damaged Target items and clearance stuff. And we would furnish our home and we would buy and sell stuff that we bought at Goodwill. And you're probably thinking, okay, now we're waiting, get to the Lego part. Well, here's where the Lego part comes in. I saw at one of these Goodwill stores a Lego Pet Shop modular building, brand new in the box, for, get this, $50. That's right, $50 for a Lego Pet Shop. Now, this is back in the day when the Lego Pet Shop was still available in retail stores. It was at that point, I think, selling for around $150 online at Lego.com. And I looked at that and I'm like, sweet, I can make some money. So what did I do? Because I wasn't a huge fan of Lego at the time, I sold it. I sold it for probably, I don't know, $120 on eBay, and after fees and shipping, probably made anywhere from $40 to $50. Wasn't a crazy haul, wasn't a crazy return, but that's what my wife and I did. We just sold things here and there, and we'd make a buck or two along the way. Not saying that was a good or a bad decision. Well, looking back now as someone who loves to build Lego, and the fact that you can only buy a pet shop for, on the secondary market, $250 to $300, I probably should have held on to it, or at least built it. Because if I want to get another one nowadays, it's going to cost me way more than the original $50 investment. So after selling the pet shop, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, sweet, you can make money on anything if you find it for less than what it's worth. But we continued to see Lego sets at these Goodwills. And I don't know if they were like Target returns or clearance items. I still don't know to this day how we were able to come across so many Lego sets, but we did. And we found them pretty consistently. And we had a whole like room inside of our apartment where we would put all this stuff that we were buying and reselling. And inside of this room, I put a bunch of the Lego sets that I had found. And one day I kind of forgot about a few, I think they were superhero Lego sets that I remember having or finding. And I think we bought one set for $30 and one set for $40. And at the time that we bought them, they were worth like $50 and $80 or something like that. And I was like, okay, well, we'll sell those. And like everything, when you start to buy a bunch of crap, it starts to pile up. So things started to pile up. I kind of forgot that we had those in there. And then we were digging through the closet, or I should say the room, full of stuff at one time. And I started to look up some of the values of anything. We had board games in there. We had clothes. We had toys, old vintage toys. And I remember looking up these Lego sets. Still to this day, cannot remember which sets they were. And noticed that they had appreciated in value to, like, I think the $30 Lego set that we bought was worth $50 when we bought it. And at that time was selling for like $90. And I was like, oh, wow. And then the set that was $40, it was currently worth like $80, had appreciated to like $200 in value. And I was I was shocked. I was like, why are these sets appreciating in value so much? Like I was floored. And so I decided to kind of dive into the world of Lego buying, investing, reselling, and started to explore that world a little bit just because I was so curious on if this was actually a thing that people did. Turns out is a thing that actually people do. There's a whole community of Lego resellers, Lego buy sellers, investors. There was like an article I read that's like, is Lego a better investment than gold? And I read that article all the way through, and it started to get me a little bit excited about how I could invest in Lego sets in the same way that you could like invest in the stock market. So I started to explore that a little bit. So as I continued to explore it a little bit more, I read more articles, joined a couple forums to learn more about Lego buying and selling, and started to dive in a little bit. My wife and I continued to sell stuff that we would find at thrift stores, and on the side, in addition to that, I would start to buy a few Lego sets here and there. I would try to research what stuff was going to retire and what stuff was going to appreciate in value, and learn about themes and piece count and price per piece and all this like Lego lingo and jargon that I was completely ignorant to at the time, and started to explore it a little bit more. So in the beginning had a glorious amount of failures. One of the biggest is I read an article somewhere along the line or a forum post, and someone said, yeah, modular buildings have some of the best investment. And so I started buying up the Lego pet shops. Again, the Lego pet shop was still available at the time. But what I did not realize at the time was that the length of a set, the amount of time that it's been on the market, is also a big factor to whether or not that set will appreciate in value over time, or how readily available it is, how saturated the market is. General supply and demand. Well, unfortunately, for me, that set had been on the market for I think 4 or 5 years. It was one of the longest running Lego sets at the time, and it was the longest running modular building ever. People has started, getting hyped about the Lego investing craze, and it was from there that I learned very, very quickly that I may have made a mistake investing in. I think I probably had 4 or 5 of them. For me, it was a significant amount of money, like $650 invested into one single Lego set, and that was pretty significant for me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna invest in this one set, and it's gonna appreciate in value. And that set discounted right before retirement. I think you could find a bunch of them for $120. I had already paid $150 for mine. Didn't know that many Lego sets were discounted right around retirement. That was another place that I was ignorant. And then I bought up a ton of Lego sets. Additionally, I bought up more pet shops when they were $120 on Lego.com and Black Friday or something like that year. And at this point, I had, I don't know how many pet shops, probably 10, maybe 8. And so I'm I've got $1,000 in Lego pet shops. And they retire, and they do not skyrocket in value. Like, they stay stagnant. It goes up to maybe like 160 after several months, and like 170. And at this point, if I'm going to sell some of these sets on eBay, I'm going to be making no money because I'm way too deep with taxes. Like, after fees and shipping, it's not even going to be a wash. I'm going to be out some dollars. And at this point, I'm stressed. I've invested in a few other Lego sets at this point. Some of them have appreciated in value. I brought probably way too many at MSRP or retail value, and I was out of luck. I was stuck, and I had way too many dollars into these Lego pet shops. So now I'm really discouraged. Like, I've got all this money into these pet shops. What am I going to do? I essentially want to quit. I'm like, I'm not doing this game anymore. I got way too deep. I got in over my head. But I'm like, I don't want to lose money. So I stuck it out. I held on to these pet shops, and slowly but surely, they started to appreciate in value. And I got to a point where I was like near break even, maybe making $5 or $10 on each one of them. And I decided to unload them, get rid of them, sell them on eBay, and cut my losses. And so really I had a decision to make at this point. Like, was I going to continue the Lego buying and selling game? And I felt like I was hopeful that this was going to be the largest mistake that I would make. I don't know if you're going to call it a mistake. I still made some money. Just took up a ton of space and a ton of dollars to get there. And I decided to keep going all in. So I took the money that I sold those pet shops with and started to buy some other Lego sets that I thought would appreciate in value over time, and continued to build back up my inventory of sets that I was planning to invest in. Now, here's where things took a turn, I'm going to say, for the better. But as you have Lego sets inside of your house sitting new in the box, it does not take long for you to want to open these boxes and start to build these Lego sets, which is exactly what happened. Some of the sets that I loved as a kid, as you can probably see behind me, were these four sets specifically. The Ferrari, the Lamborghini, these two Lamborghinis, and the Ferrari FXX. Those were sets that I had, and the nostalgia started to come back for me. I started to come out of the dark ages of a Lego builder and wanted to start building some of these creator car Lego sets. One of the sets that I saw that was on the retail market at the time was this guy right here, the Volkswagen camper van. And I learned very quickly that this is probably not a good set to invest in for the same reason that I invested in the pet shop. This set at the time when I was looking into it was on the market for like 4 or 5 years. And I think is the longest running Lego set of all time. It retired just last December around holiday time of 2020. This Volkswagen camper van finally left the market, which was shocking to so many. We thought it was just going to live on forever in the Lego investing and buying and selling community. But I built the set several years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago now, and I started to build up my personal collection. And the only way you can afford to build Lego sets is to buy and sell, because my wife and I ended up moving from Chicago to the suburbs of Detroit. I actually got a job as a pastor in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'm on staff at a church called 242 Community Church, and I was working at the Ann Arbor campus at the time, and I love the church, man. I love working for the church. I love being a pastor. But I also love my passion for Lego. I love building, I love buying, I love selling. Like, it is still a passion that I live with. And this hobby, or I should say side hustle of mine, where I started to buy, sell, and invest, turned into a Lego passion, a Lego YouTube channel, an eBay store that I have. Like, it has grown tenfold over time as I continue to grow in my passion for Lego sets. So it started here, and then it jumped over to the Volkswagen Beetle, and then I built and the Mini Cooper. And over time, I have grown in my addiction to Lego sets. Yeah, and I wish I could tell you that I could stop, but I can't. And a pastor's salary, let me tell you, does not pay for this large of a collection. I have to say I would say I've gotten pretty good at buying and selling and investing in Lego sets. I'm not doing it full time. It cannot sustain my wife and my family and I full time. It is a small piece of our income. A good majority of that income that I get from buying and selling Lego sets, I fund my Lego building hobby with. But really, the gift of buying and selling Lego sets that I've gained is allowing my wife to stay home with our girls. It's, obviously pastoring doesn't pay that much. But what buying and selling Lego sets does, it's allowed a little bit of financial freedom for my family. It's allowed me to have a hobby that I enjoy, and it's allowed us to you know, afford our lifestyle and live in the suburbs of Detroit. I'm no longer on staff at the Ann Arbor campus of the church I'm at, 242. I'm on staff at the Taylor campus of 242 Community Church, and I love the church that I'm a part of. I love serving at that church. I love pastoring. I love connecting with people. I don't think that passion will ever go away. It is far greater than my passion for Lego. It's far greater than my passion for buying and selling. That's definitely what I feel called to do and what I continue to feel called to do. But what I love is getting to share my story with you, to impart some of my wisdom that I've gained in the Lego buying and selling world to you on the Jake's Bricks YouTube channel. I just released a video like what sets to invest in with your $1,400 stimulus check. You can check that out on my channel. But I'm hoping to continue to grow my knowledge base and information for you on the Jake's Bricks YouTube channel on how to buy and sell. If you want to buy and sell Lego sets just so that you can have a side hustle, do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's definitely some people inside of the Lego community that frown on Lego resellers because it often, I'll be honest, has tainted the hobby for many. Specifically those that buy sets that are new releases and they go out of stock, and then people that really want them can't get a hold of them. And I know that has been pretty detrimental to the Lego community, but there are some amazing benefits of it. Like if you just start to buy sets here and there that you think will appreciate over time, modular buildings are still some of the best investable sets. The Pet Shop was the biggest strike that I ever had on my resume of buying and selling Lego sets, but those are still extremely desirable. They're still collectible for those that build those modular building cities. But yeah, I've continued to grow in my buying and selling and investing ability. Obviously, it has caused me to grow my collection of Lego sets. This is not even all of the Lego sets that I have built, but really it's the easiest way for me to display them in this unfinished basement that I'm in. But yeah, I continue to buy and sell, and I hope you can start to fund your Lego hobby. Like if you're looking behind me and you're like, oh, I can't wait till I have enough money to buy these Lego sets. It takes time. It definitely doesn't happen overnight. Lego buying and selling wasn't like, I didn't like hit the lottery and I'm like, oh, now I'm a successful Lego reseller. It definitely took some time. It took some work to kind of build inventory and reinvest that inventory and buy and sell and reinvest and buy and sell and reinvest and build the Lego set here and there and save some of my profits and reinvest it back in. And I've been able to grow my inventory over time. Again, I'll tell you guys, I'm a small time reseller compared to some of the big guys out there who are buying 10, 20, 30 of a set at a time. I'm buying 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 in a big instance. But I love it. Not only do I love the hustle, but I love that I get to use my passion to teach others. I love that I get to use my hobby to utilize with my girls. I've got a couple videos on my channel where I built some Lego sets with my daughters, and my oldest daughter Raylan has started to love building with me. She's almost at the age where she can maybe do a smaller set on her own, but it is just so fun to get to watch her grow in the same passion and the same hobby that I have. So here's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping that as you watch more videos here on the Jake's Bricks YouTube channel, that you can learn more about Lego investing, Lego buying and selling, Lego building. My passion for buying and selling has obviously turned into a hobby. It's not just what I do, but I love to build. I love to learn about everything Lego, and I love to help people do it. I've had conversations with many of my family and friends about how I, kind of built my buying and selling side hustle and what it took to do there and some of the mistakes that I made along the way. And here's what I hope to do. I hope to make sure you don't make the same mistakes that I do. So if you want, subscribe to the Jake's Bricks YouTube channel. I'm going to hopefully share some more engaging videos of builds and reviews and leaks and clearance hauls and tips and tricks on how to buy and what sets to invest in. But most importantly, just share your passion and my passion for Lego building, because that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to help my passion be your passion. I want to give you really the tools to invest in Lego, how to do it well. What are some of the mistakes you shouldn't make? The biggest one is don't invest in the Lego pet shop right now. I don't think it's going to appreciate much more than it already has. It took a long time to get to where it's at, but yeah. If you were looking for, like, if you came here like, oh, I wonder what's a tip he's going to give us and, where should I start? Make sure you set up a budget. That is the most important thing, that you set up a budget that's very strict, that you're going to stick to. Don't use your savings. At least this is what I would suggest. I just used a small amount of money. I started with like $200. Started with a couple small Lego sets and started to buy and sell them. Buy and sold more and buy and sold more. And I got up to $1,000 and invested in a ton of pet shops, and that's when things went downhill. But eventually ended up selling those Lego sets. Bought a couple more, made a couple more mistakes along the way. Some sets that you could invest in today that are usually, again, you can't take my word for this as absolute truth, but you usually can invest in that are awesome and consistent winners is Minecraft, modular buildings. These creator cars tend to do really well. The Volkswagen Beetle and the Volkswagen Van are probably going to be slow appreciators because they were on the market for so long. And then anything unique that has unique minifigures, unique pieces, those tend to do well as they appreciate in value because there's so many minifigure collectors out there. These are some of the things I've learned along the way. I hope to give you more tips and tricks on how to buy and sell Lego sets, what sets to invest in, so that you can fund your Lego building hobby. Look at that. Tow Mater from Cars 2. He's got a rocket on the back. Man, it was fun getting to hang out with you all. It was fun getting to build this set as I was chatting with most of you guys. But if you've got questions for me, I'm going to put my email actually in the description below. If you'd like to sign up for my email list where I share with you some of the deals that I have on my eBay page, some more clearance tips, like sign up for my email list. I'll put my email below, and I'll send out regular emails to connect with you. If you have questions for me, you can email me below. It's jake@jakesbricks.com. I'll also put a link in the description to the video that I posted about 5 Lego sets that you should be investing in with your $1,400 stimulus check. But hoping to equip you so that you can fund your Lego hobby and you can continue to build along with me. As always, guys, it's Jake from Jake's Bricks signing off. We'll see ya.